Gaza is suffering with the worst humanitarian crisis ever, but now the world's opinion is changing. They want this war to end. Even Israelis, for that matter, for the first time, a group of 31 prominent Israelis, including artists, intellectuals, and former political leaders, have publicly called for crippling international sanctions on Israel itself. They say Israel's siege and military campaign in Gaza is causing catastrophic starvation and threatens the forced removal of millions of Palestinians. Protests outside the US Embassy in Tel Aviv underscores growing shame and anger at home as Israel's biggest allies re-evaluate their support. Europe is taking bold diplomatic steps. France, the UK, Canada, and Malta have all announced plans to formally recognize the state of Palestine at the UN General Assembly in September, joining more than 145 countries worldwide. So the US is not happy with this, it is only against it. Trump has warned Canada that the announcement will affect trade talks between the two countries, US and Canada. But what does everyone want? They want an immediate ceasefire and now are isolating Israel. European Commission has called the suffering in Gaza unbearable and indefensible, upping the pressure on Israel to halt military operations in the Gaza Strip. All this impacts Netanyahu, and his popularity at home has plunged. Polls show a solid majority of Israelis now have an unfavorable opinion of their prime minister. Most people want to end the Gaza war, demanding return of hostages and a ceasefire. Meanwhile, Hamas is facing the heat too. Arab and Muslim states have for the first time issued joint calls for Hamas to disarm and relinquish power in Gaza Strip. The 22-member Arab League, the entire EU, and another 17 countries backed the declaration signed at UN conference hosted by Saudi and France this week. So who will rule Gaza now? The countries say Palestinian Authority will do it. They want PA to rule Gaza. Hamas must surrender for that. They have lost control over most parts of Gaza, but Hamas holds 50 Israelis hostage. And that is the trump card. So will the war end? Well, everyone wants Netanyahu to talk and resolve the conflict, get hostages out, but he continues to bomb the strip and the US politicians support this war. This week, the US Senate voted on a new resolution aimed at ending America's military support to Israel. All Republicans voted against it and even Democrats were split. US citizens, though, want this war to end, but not the politicians. So when will it end? It depends on Israel and US. And if the US is supporting Israel, the UN will not be able to pass a resolution to recognize the Palestinian state, which does not have a land or sovereignty because it is occupied by Israel. The recognition will not change much, but even if it does, and UN plans to take Palestine in, it would require the vote of all 5 permanent members. 4 have recognized the state, but US is still against it. So, well, looks like it depends on the US and Israel now to decide when this war will end.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.